Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Talks. I'm your host, Kiran. I'm a leadership communication coach. Every week on Leadership Talks, I invite a leader, emerging leader, to come and share their self leadership journey. Today, on the fourth episode of Leadership Talks, I have the privilege of having Mrs. Shraddha Dubey, who's joining us all the way from Kolkata, India. Shraddha is the founder of a startup called Psykindle, which focuses on mental health, career guidance, and skill development. However, Shraddha is new in this entrepreneurial journey. She's a plant pathologist. She's been awarded by the Indian Society of Mycology and Plant Pathology for her research work. But Shraddha found there was a different calling, and she moved towards skill training and career support consultancy. Let me welcome Shraddha Dubey to Leadership Talks. Hi, Shraddha. Thank you for
Hello,
joining us.
Kiran. Pure joy to be on Leadership Talks. Thank you so much for inviting.
So, Shraddha, we would like to know a little bit about you. You've always been in academics, and from there, you decided to change your career and start with a startup which is called Psychondro during the pandemic. So, would you be able to tell us what made you make this change in your career, which was, I would say, during the pandemic, you started your startup? What was the real motivation for you to have this career change?
All right. Talking about Psykindle, my startup, it's basically a movement, a revolution which I intend.
Okay.
You may smile on this very fact. So I don't call it a startup basically. Uh, in my career, which is spanning to around 2 decades now in the field of uh, research and education, what I've experienced is that the schools and colleges, they never go for psychological mapping,
Hmm.
aptitude mapping, or career mapping.
Hmm.
So education is more or less about examination and less of assimilation or absorption. Now this is creating lot of stress, pressure on students to perform and also to compete and just to attain one good job.
Absolutely.
Now, having that thing in view, it might seem hilarious at times when we say that we require more Olympic gold, more
Mhm.
Olympic medals. And here, what we are doing is we want our kids to qualify examination and become doctors and engineers.
That is the very stereotyping behavior of parents. Yes, I agree.
Exactly. And I see this suffering even in the arena. Talking about the professional efficiency, also the personal life of people which is being affected because they don't have the requisite skills, the mental and emotional strength which is required to cope up with the challenges in the professional life and also in personal life. And this is taking a toll on the mental health and also professional efficiency and relationships.
I would like to just add one part over here, Shraddha, that leadership or it's all about self leadership. And self leadership starts with self awareness, being aware of yourself. And because
Exactly.
we don't even have these kind of, we are not even aware of how to understand our own emotions, and when we are
Exactly.
going through this mundane academic building journey of ours, nowhere do we actually have curriculums which address any of these issues. And when we are faced into the situation, we start facing mental stress, as what you just shared. So how have you
Absolutely.
started this revolution over here?
Okay, when let me put forth certain figures. We could gather that 1 out of 9 people in India required psychological interventions or maybe psychological counseling.
Hmm.
And during this pandemic, it rose or maybe it increased to maybe around 1 in 5 requiring that. And
Hmm.
when you talk about the Western world, it was 1 in 3 who required it.
Hmm.
So this was the kind of scenario. This is the kind of scenario which prompted me to think on the lines
Okay.
and develop. And instead of blaming or complaining the government policies, the societal structure, or maybe the education system, I thought of addressing the issue with Psykindle. So in
So be the
Psykindle,
change, be the change that you want to see. So that is exactly what you decided to.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
So we at Psykindle, we have the world-class psychometric test for career guidance and the best on planet, as regards to skilled trainers, psychologists, counselors, because we believe that, in this universe, everyone has a place. It's just
Right.
that the skills and the aptitude should match your personality to give your best.
Right.
So
Right.
we'll be collaborating with schools, colleges, corporates, and wish for a paradigm shift. So
Absolutely.
this is a kind of thing I'm aiming at the moment. Yes.
Wonderful. I wish you all the very best with this revolution that you have decided to start. And especially you started your journey during the pandemic. So, Shraddha, being from academics, and then you brought this, you decided you wanted to bridge the gap, which was going to be the skills and the mental health and the psychological aptitude skills that needed to be addressed. So, you brought in Psych Kindle during the pandemic. What were the challenges
Yes.
that your uh, companies faced as a startup? What were the challenges that you faced?
First and foremost, Kiran, it was self doubt. And self doubt because I had gathered the information that 90% of the startups fail in India just during first few years.
Right.
And only, to be amidst the 10% and to attain that, what do you call that, unicorn status
Right.
was a big task. So first and foremost, the challenge was self doubt and fear of losing out, or maybe the fear of failure, which cropped up in my
Absolutely.
mind. But then, when you have a very sound team,
Mm,
you don't deter or you don't give up. That is
mm.
how the team works.
Right.
That was an advantage for me because I had an absolutely fabulous team with me.
Okay.
And second to it, when you talk about potential barriers which we faced, first, and it was basically finding potential customers and winning their trust,
Mm.
because
Right.
our startup is basically on human touch. It is based on human touch,
Yeah.
human connect,
Right.
understanding human beings.
Right.
And pandemic had already created distance. So that is one arena, though we started functioning online,
Mm.
but that personal touch or that human effect, we could not meet it to the optimum level as we desired for.
Right.
So that was another thing. Going to the finances, if you talk about that, the inflow was on decline, but the outflow was the same.
Right.
So
I'm
these are
sure
the
many people who are going to be starting their journey, they will say the same things. Self doubt is the first question that all of them have, the fear of failing. And the
right.
second one would be what you talked about, the human touch. And this pandemic has definitely created that imbalance where, where we started our social distancing, we have literally distanced people away. We're scared of humans
True,
right
true,
nowadays. Absolutely.
true.
So what,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So what would be the third thing? And the finances. Everyone has gone into self-sustaining mode that we don't want to spend money on anything that we might feel that is frivolous.
Right. And pandemic actually affected every home. So all our teammates were also affected, maybe because
Yeah.
of the ill health or death in their families. So at one point in time, we faced stagnation altogether.
Mm.
Our business was not moving at all.
Mm.
And at that point of time, we got help from our friends, family, and also a few members, team members, who volunteered to bear the extra load and then move further or move forward with the business thing, scaling it higher. And this is how we survived. So it was team spirit which helped us to pave our way further.
So let me just ask you a follow-up question on this, that you said you had a very strong team to start
Right.
with. So how had you decided on this the journey, when you were you able to collaborate even before with like-minded people who wanted to see this revolution?
We did, yes. Like I have a partner who is a psychologist, and she's now stationed at West Indies. She is with the Universities of Americas. I have a financer. She's based at Mumbai. So we
Okay.
had this tribe, of like-minded people.
Right.
We brainstormed and we came out with this outcome, the startup. And it's, let me tell you, it's all women's force which is working behind.
Wonderful. Kudos to you on sisterhood, and more power to women out there who are on their journey of self leadership and their entrepreneur journey. When you find like minded women, it just becomes an unstoppable journey for all of us. So, that what would you like to add on about the tribe of people that are in your organization? Is it are you right now based in India, or is it actually a global? Psychindle is catering to a global audience.
See, we operate from a single gateway,
Okay,
and our address, if you find, it's Varanasi.
right.
This is the place where I hail from.
Hmm.
Other than that, we are all nomads.
Okay,
We keep on moving places,
okay.
and we are stationed at different areas all over the world. Like we
Oh,
are two partners at the moment, but we have three other people who are functioning from Canada, from one West Indies, from Mumbai, and from Gurugram. This is how it is.
so wonderful. Kudos to the Psychedel tribe, which is all over the globe, making it even more connected in spite of what COVID has done, separating us physically. But nonetheless, the digitalized world has kept us connected.
Connected,
Very,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So, taking that forward, Shraddha, my next question to you would be that you came from academics. So, has the journey moving forward from academics to becoming a person who is on this entrepreneur journey, has your leadership style evolved? How you handle teams, has that evolved? Or have you been using the same style of leadership which you had as a researcher, as an academia, as part of academia?
Okay. When you talk about working in a startup, it is both very exciting, exhilarating, and stressful, and also unpredictable at times. I'll
Okay.
tell you this. Now, having a background of an academics and research, the kind of leadership style that I had witnessed, being under a tutelage of my guide, Professor Rathaya,
Right.
who was a strict guide, I must say, a strict leader, very authoritative. And
Okay.
he had certain policies and rules and, you know, a time frame. We had to work in that frame.
Right.
So I started using the same because I
Right.
was influenced by the
Absolutely.
outcome, by the
Absolutely.
outcome which he brought forth
Right.
for the kind of with the kind of leadership style. So I
Right.
thought that is the best.
Correct.
But when I started with the Kindle, I felt that it was like grooming a baby. I had given birth to a baby. I was rearing it. I was
Right.
grooming it. So it was
Right.
more like a parenting thing. You are a new parent,
Right.
and you work with your gut feeling, and you
Correct.
work with an external core of advices and suggestions.
Absolutely.
And I was meddling with the kind of knowledge that I was gathering, and also the daily experiences, and adapting to the circumstances.
Right.
And here I felt that I require a change from the authoritative mindset or a leadership skill. Because leadership skill is paramount to for a startup to swim or sink.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you that.
Bang on.
And so
Yep.
you need to change if need is, if the need arises.
The context decides. Yeah, absolutely. We
Exactly.
actually can't use the same leadership styles even with different people. We have to change, because what may work with a particular group of people may not work with another group of people, or the same thing with our in organizations. It depends on the context, on the scenario, on the conversation. Every minute we need to be adapting. But I agree that, coming from academics myself, I was also probably very uh, fixed and rigid in how things should be delivered. But when I moved on to becoming a leadership coach, I realized that it's not about how I communicate. It's also about how I need to understand the needs of the clients and be more flexible with my needs
Exactly.
and their
Exactly.
needs.
Exactly. And also that my startup had a focal point which was human touch.
Mm.
And we required compassion, we required understanding, we required creative ideas.
Correct.
And when you have this kind of expectation from people, you cannot bind them under policies, under rules and regulations.
Correct.
What I felt was, when I delegate my work to people with passion, with the strength, you know, then the outcome was fabulous.
Right.
It was the way I wanted it to be.
Hmm. Hmm.
And when I started binding them with my ideas, with my decisions, the outcome wasn't that good.
Okay.
Comparison when I did.
Right.
And therein, Shraddha Dubey evolved as a hands off leader.
Okay.
Laissez faire? Is it that what you call it?
Yes, laissez-faire leadership style. You move from autocratic leadership to a laissez-faire leadership style. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
correct.
And I tell you, this is a magic bullet
Right.
for startups.
Wonderful.
Now that
Wonderful.
I've experienced it, I'm telling you this. Yes.
Lovely. Lovely. So, Shraddha, we are close to our showtime ending. So, my last question to you would be that what would be your one message to emerging leaders who want to start this journey of starting their self leadership journey, their entrepreneur business, anything that they wanted? What would be that one takeaway that you would like to give
First and foremost, good luck. Go ahead.
them?
And second would be, have a big appetite for risk and also success. Believe in the purpose of your startup. Because if you know the why,
Yes,
then only the what spurs, when the going gets tough. Like the way we faced during this pandemic, the
absolutely.
fund issues, and also getting the customers, building the trust. So it was the why, which held us or binded our team. And also take it into your mind that losses or failures are not a signal to give up.
Absolutely.
It just suggests that you need to maybe change your process or your strategy
Mhm.
and bounce back.
Wonderful. With
So
that,
never
thank you
stop,
so much.
never
Yes,
quit.
Shweta, you are very right on that. So my takeaway from this sharing would be, to all our young emerging leaders will be, start with the why. Know the purpose of
Exactly.
why are you in this self leadership journey. Number two, be willing to take risks and don't be scared of fears, because don't let your fears overtake your mind and create self doubt that you cripple your own growth journey. right?
Absolutely.
Shraddha?
You are more powerful than your challenges. Let me tell you this. You are more
Right.
powerful.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me today, Shraddha, and thank you to our viewers for listening to us. Leadership Talks will be back next week with another leader to share their journey. And for more information, join the Leadership Card Facebook page and the Leadership Card website. That's all from today. From me and Shraddha, this is Kiran
Thank you
signing
so
off.
much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you.